Before Rome existed, before Greece wrote its first philosophy, before China raised its first wall, there was a city so advanced, so perfectly planned that archaeologists uncovered it in the 1920s. They refused to believe what they were seeing. This was not supposed to exist, not this early, not this good. Mohenjo-daro, the Mound of the Dead, a city of 50,000 people, built with a precision the world would not match for another 2,000 years. And then, one day, it simply vanished. No conquest, no great fire, no final battle, just silence and a mystery that has never been solved. Around 3000 BC, in the floodplain of the Indus River, in what is now modern Pakistan, something extraordinary happened. Small farming communities began to grow, trade routes opened, and then, with the speed that still puzzles historians, a full urban civilization emerged, almost fully formed. We call it the Indus Valley Civilization, and its greatest achievement was Mohenjo-daro. But what made this city truly strange only becomes clear when you compare it to every other civilization alive at exactly the same moment. In Egypt, pharaohs ruled as living gods. In Mesopotamia, kings waged constant, brutal wars over land and power. Every early civilization on Earth organized itself the same way. One ruler at the top, everyone else below. That was the pattern, everywhere, without exception. Except here. Mohenjo-daro had no palace, no throne room, no royal tomb, no monument to any king, no inscription celebrating any ruler. What it had, instead, was something far stranger and far more impressive. It had a city that worked perfectly for everyone. The streets were laid out in a precise grid. Main avenues ran north to south, wide enough for 2 carts to pass. Side streets branched at exact right angles. Every block was measured. Every corner was deliberate. The city was divided into a raised citadel in the west and a lower residential zone in the east, both built with the same obsessive attention to order. Buildings were made from fired brick, not sun-dried mud like the most of the ancient world, properly kiln-fired brick, standardized to a precise ratio of 1 to 2 to 4 across the entire city. Every builder in every neighborhood working from the same measurements. Standardized industrial production 4,500 years ago. But nothing prepared the excavators for what lay beneath the streets. Mohenjo-daro had the most sophisticated urban sanitation system in the ancient world. Every major house had its own private bathroom. Waste moved through brick-lined drains beneath the streets, connected to a city-wide sewage network. Inspection holes were built in so workers could maintain them. A public health infrastructure that Rome would be celebrated for inventing 2,000 years later, already old and already working here in 2500 BC. At the heart of the citadel stood the Great Bath. 12 meters long, 7 meters wide, sealed with natural tar to prevent leaking, fed by a dedicated well, surrounded by changing rooms and smaller bathing chambers. No one knows exactly what it was for. It sits in history without an answer, demanding explanations that the silence of Mohenjo-daro refuses to give. The people here had a writing system, over 400 distinct symbols carved in small stone seals, intricate animals, geometric patterns, lines of script. These seals traveled as far as Mesopotamia, proof of a trading network stretching thousands of kilometers. And yet, the script has never been deciphered. Despite a century of attempts, the Indus Valley script remains one of the last great unsolved mysteries of the ancient world. We know they had language. We know they recorded it. We simply cannot read a single word. At its peak, this civilization covered an area larger than ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia combined. Over 1,000 settlements, all using the same standardized bricks, the same weights, the same drainage systems across modern Pakistan, India, and Afghanistan. No central army, no evidence of forced unification, just quiet, impossible coordination at a scale that should not have been achievable. And then, around 1900 BC, it began to end.
Not in fire, not in conquest. Slowly, the construction quality declined. Streets went unmaintained. Trade contracted. Climate research now suggests the monsoon patterns that fed the Indus River began to shift. Rivers changed course. The land that had sustained a civilization for 600 years became unreliable. And without water, without food surplus, the entire system quietly unraveled. The people did not die in their city. They left, gradually, in small groups, moving eastward. The drains silted up, the wells were abandoned, the kilns went cold, and Mohenjo-daro disappeared beneath the earth for 4,000 years. It was rediscovered in 1922 when an archaeologist named R.D. Banerjee noticed unusual brick fragments eroding from a mound in Sindh. Within years, it was clear that something world-changing had been found. A city older than classical antiquity, more organized than anything its age had produced, and completely nameless. We do not know what its people called it. We do not know the language they spoke. We do not know a single name of anyone who ever walked its streets.
Here is perhaps the most extraordinary fact of all. In over a century of excavation, archaeologists have never found a confirmed weapon of war. No military fortifications, no mass graves from battles, no depictions of warfare anywhere in the art or artifacts. In a world where every other early civilization built its story on conquest, the Indus Valley people appear to have built theirs on something else: commerce, cooperation, civic order. We may never know their names, we may never read their words, but Mohenjo-daro leaves behind something more powerful than a name: a question. A civilization of 50,000 people, spanning a territory larger than Egypt, built without kings, without armies, without monuments to power. And it worked. For 600 years, it worked. They left no legacy of war, only the quiet, stubborn evidence of a people who simply chose to build something worth living in. And then the earth took them back. And for 4,000 years, no one even knew to miss them.